Wow.
You're going to like this.
Oh, no, I'm not. Because there is no goddamn middle.
This is not unlike ancient Rome, by the way.
Not so much the family circus. Yeah. Yeah, when I did Mary Shelley, I had the same issue with necromancy.
A lot of them wanted to create self-sustaining farms and got into crystals.
I know.
Okay.
I understand that.
But yeah, I'm reading Livy, who is a shitty historian.
Because Eerie Gygax.
Others say that because Laurentia's body was common to all the shepherds around, she was called a she-wolf, which is a Latin term for whore. You were audible last season. It just, most of it was you slamming the table.
As the Romanists at the table. Well, duh.
Yeah.
Obviously, ipso facto.
Right.
You know, to engage in a little bit
Ipso
of dog
facto.
Latin.
You have a sword rack.
This is a Geek History of Time,
where we connect nerdery to the real world. I'm Ed Blaylock. I'm a 45-year-old now, father of a very young boy who has recently started showing a very great interest in dragons. He seems to see them a very great deal in and around every place, and I don't know where exactly he's getting it, but I take it as a sign that I'm affecting his imagination in a positive way. And prior to the plague arriving in the lands, I was a 7th grade world history teacher and a 7th grade English teacher. I'm now doing that still, but now via remote. How about you?
Well, I was at one time before the plague a Latin teacher and an occasional history teacher. I'm still a father of 2. My daughter, who is super into dragons. My son, who is super into trains. But she's almost 8. He's 10. But now, yes, I'm a remote Latin teacher as well, because the plague has come into our lands. But I did stock up on bleach and disinfectant, and I walked out into the sunlight today and stabbed myself a bunch of times with little pins just to give myself more surface area to get that light into my body.
And, you know, you've gotten on my ass previously about, placing our broadcast in a specific moment in time. So I just want to say, screw you.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Because you now not only pinpointed where we are by year, but now archivists will be able to go, wait, when is it the President of the United States said that? Okay, it has to be within a couple of days of that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So good job.
Thank you. Actually,
no
my daughter started playing another character, her ranger that she loved, decided it would be better for her animals, her animal companion, to not go on a boat to a desert because it was a black bear, which was totally shocking to me. So she played her character exactly as her character would and basically retired her into the forest, which meant we had to make a whole new character for her. So I finally convinced her that a monk is kind of a fun class. And she's a dragonborn monk, so she's all about the dragon stuff. So what she doesn't know is that tomorrow they're going to get hit by dragon pirates.
Nice.
Yeah. You know,
okay,
I don't recommend seaborne adventures, by the way, because you are trapped on the goddamn ship and you aren't the one in control of where it goes. Like, there's so much narratively that's bad about doing seaborne adventures.
Yeah. Well, there are so many limitations involved in it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's. So good luck with that you've written here. Good luck with that corner you've written yourself into.
Well, we're gonna there's gonna be a coffin that they pick up that floats to the top that's covered in barnacles that has a lock on it that they then open and they find.
There's no way. And you know they're going to open it because as smart as your children are, they're still player characters. And what could possibly go wrong?
Right. So they're going to open it, and it's going to be a very nice vampire who's going to charm the captain into simply just taking him to this island where he can then restart his life. So it's going to be the most benign vampire encounter they ever have because the vampire is way too high a level for them. But while they're doing that, the vampire gives me a good ex machina in case their encounter with the dragonborn pirates goes south on them. So they've got someone
I see
in their
what
pocket.
You're doing there.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing there. Good, good thinking.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
I can hear what you're doing there. What are you doing there?
I'm not doing anything. My wife is at the sink, which is behind where you can see me from.
Okay.
So, not to worry. Don't. It's fine.
Did you turn the little thing so that it's on the mic so that it's like an upside down heart?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Cool. All right.
I did.
Good. This is where people
did,
get to peek behind the veil of our show. So.
But behind the curtain, pay no attention to the plumbing behind the curtain.
So, hey,
I hope that our audience will be sympathetic enough based on the fact that we are, doing this during, historically weird times.
Yes.
Yes. So, just like I tell my students, occasionally you're going to hear my son talk about the fact that he's going potty right now. So, because, he's 2. And so just roll with it, and we'll all do what we got to do and come out the other end of this. So
Yeah. So we were talking before the show about what do you call it? The Avengers, and
yes, we were.
I love the Avengers, and I think one of the best parts about the Avengers, it goes kind of unsaid that Joss Whedon managed to cram so much good dialogue into so many good and clever spots where it didn't drag the action down at all. And I think that he's a really yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think he's a really good director, and he's always got a good reputation for being really progressive. So I was just really glad that they used him for both Avengers 1 and 2, The Age of Ultron and the Avengers.
I'm not going to disagree with you on the point about him being a great director.
Okay.
He is very, very good at what he does.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's got a reputation for being a really good feminist and supporting women's roles and stuff like that.
So here's the thing. And this is where this is going to get ugly. And at the end of this episode, we're probably going to have, I don't know, at least one of our 4 fans is going to probably want to try to find out where I live and come after me. Because
just go toward the sound of dishes being washed.
Yeah, well, only when my wife is down here in the kitchen. But that's not true. I do my fair share of chores around the house, or I try to anyway. But
so do I.
No, I should hope so. Otherwise, you're using your kids as slave labor. You don't. Anyway,
both things are
moving
true.
on. Yeah. Speaking of progressive ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But my whole thesis today is about a beloved TV series of his, and why it's actually kind of problematic. And we need, as a community, I think fandom needs to recognize it and have a conversation about it.
Joss Whedon has problematic views, and it comes through his...
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not actually going to say that Joss Whedon himself has problematic views, because I think as much as anybody, I think his intentions are good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that. I think based on things that have come out in regard to his behavior, some of his reputation as being a progressive in terms of feminist issues may be tarnished.
Oh. Okay.
Somewhat by that. But what I really want to talk about is actually Firefly, and what's problematic about it has basically nothing to do, at least in the broad sense, with anything having to do with feminist issues, and it has everything to do with the lost cause.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can already kind of see that stacking up. Okay, so Firefly is the season, the single season show that everybody adores and loves.
Within science fiction fandom, if you say that you didn't like Firefly, that's a surefire way of getting yourself ostracized.
Yes.
Or at the most benign, have a whole bunch of people look at you like, who the fuck are you, man? Right. Because here's the thing. It is a real before I start in on what I'm going to say. I am a huge fan. I love the show. The dialogue because it's one of the things Joss Whedon does brilliantly. The dialogue is always good. Even in storylines within the series they're kind of middling, like, okay, this is like a first season TNG episode, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because even within the 14 episodes that were actually done of the show, it does have the couple or three that are like, holy fuck, this is amazing.
Yes.
And then it has and then it has a whole bunch that are like, this is really solidly really good TV. And then there are like one or two that are like,
swing and a miss.
You kind of had a rough day in the writers' room, didn't you? Like, I'm gonna say I don't think the show ever completely misses.
No, I think there's enough through lines and enough threads that if the A and B and C threads don't work, the D thread still does.
Yeah. And Whedon has a good enough sense of his characters that there's never anything that happens in any of these 14 episodes that you're like, well, that just doesn't make any sense for, why would Preacher be reacting that way? Preacher, well, that's not him. Like the character, and that's part of the blessing, I think, of the series only having 14 episodes.
It does become an empty vessel in some ways. Like,
yeah, well, and go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's so concentrated, and you always put your best foot forward. And because his strength is character writing and dialogue, that's a really strong first season. And then after that, it was like, wow, just think of what it could have been. Yeah.
And there's no, black tar alien, episode to completely kill the mood and bring everybody down, and there was never, they never ran into the problem of, the Wesley conundrum, and because the way he writes his characters is not like Star Trek. I'm flaking, but Roddenberry,
right?
And so the characters are all very strong. The dialogue is always good.
Yeah.
And so when the plot lags a little bit, you still have that effervescence and that fizz. Mm-hmm. Like as a beer snob, if the flavor profile is a little flat, you still have the effervescence and that going on to still kind of maintain your interest and still make it at least a little bit interesting on the palate.
Sure.
3 guesses to our audience what I'm drinking right now. So, but the thing is, and I'm going to start by talking about the show, and not the history that's kind of involved behind it. So what we've kind of already talked about, because the first note I have here is ask Damian for his opinion on Firefly. We kind of already have that. What was your first impression, like when you first saw it?
So I came to it crazy late. Like, I think I came to it once I was a single dad again. Once I was a single dad. I think I came to it in the last 4 or 5 years. So I've come to it really late. Anyway, I came to it once I had kids. And I watched it upon the multiple recommendations of all kinds of friends who were like, you like sci-fi, how did you not see that? I was like, well, I just didn't get around to it yet, And I saw
the Fox Network. The Fox Network conspired to make sure you didn't.
Right.
Is kind of the answer.
Yeah. But, then I saw it on a streaming platform, and I was like, well, I wash dishes. I could be watching it while I'm doing that. And so I did. I didn't know that it was only one season.
You poor bastard.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
So
the upside was I got to binge it, but it was amazing. I was incredibly impressed by it, and the amount of people who were in it, where I was like, I know that person. It was really fun, and there were several people I didn't know who they were, and I was like, they do a really solid job.
Yeah, what's really remarkable about that is, everybody else who and my experience is actually very similar to yours. Mm-hmm. I didn't wait quite as long to see it, but it was on the air in 2002. Mm-hmm. So it was like 2002 to 2003. And I was hearing about it from one of my coworkers at the time, a very dear friend of mine, who was just like over the moon about it. Like, nice. Could not stop talking about it. And I was just never able to tune in to watch it because of my life circumstances at the time. I was just never able to tune in to watch it while it was actually on the air.
Right.
And it wasn't until I had come back to California and was in the process of getting the divorce from my first wife.
Sure.
That I actually had the time to sit down with a DVD set and sit down after work and watch it. And I think I wound up watching it over the course of about a week and a half.
Yeah, that's about right.
And just absolutely devoured it. And I had the advantage over you in that I knew that it was only the one season and these were the only episodes that existed. And so, and I did recognize a couple of the people on the cast as like, oh, hey, I've seen that person before. But it hadn't been quite so long for them to get really established in other roles. Like, for example, when Nathan Fillion went on to do Castle on ABC, I knew, hey, I know who that guy is. I saw him play Mal Reynolds. This is going to be good.
Okay.
Like from episode 1, and of course that series is another one that had a huge fan base.
Right.
Had much better ratings than Firefly because ABC didn't screw the show over the way Fox did Firefly.
Right.
But so yeah, and I think what struck me on watching it was that it looked so different from everything that was sci-fi that was on TV at the time it aired.
Yeah. Again, I didn't see it on TV, so I came to it probably after I watched BSG. I think I was probably looking around for something, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this would be a good series to get into."
So here's the deal. I'm gonna say it's still very much a departure from everything else going on TV, even at that time. Even when you came back to it, because like when it originally aired, Stargate SG-1, Roswell, The X-Files, Enterprise, and Farscape are the biggest sci-fi series names I could think of.
Okay.
That were on TV at the time, and so Roswell and The X-Files are kind of kissing cousins in terms of subgenre. Right.
Okay. Right. Yeah. There's something strange afoot, and there's government involved. Got it.
Yeah, and it all takes place in our world with it's kind of the science fiction equivalent of magical realism. Stargate SG-1 is one of the best military SF series that's ever been done.
Okay.
Because they managed to be believably military at the same time as having a basically space opera kind of storyline.
Right.
Enterprise, we've already talked about on this podcast. Go back to the episodes where we talked about how 9/11 ruined it. And Farscape, I love Farscape. And Farscape is just fucking weird.
Okay.
Like there's it's space opera. Have you seen Farscape at all?
I started watching a couple episodes of it because the gal who played Shaza in Pitch Black was in it. But I think I started that one after I started watching Firefly. It was the next one. And then I just kind of lost interest in sci-fi as a genre for a little while. But everything you've mentioned has been TV sci-fi that I didn't really get into.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I have very, very good friends who were super fans for X-Files and Roswell. I was a huge fan of Stargate SG-1. I still am. I identify very, very strongly with Daniel.
Okay.
From Stargate, like on so many levels. And so frequently when I'm dealing with administration, I do the same, putting two fingers between my eyes over the bridge of my glasses and looking kind of strained. So Firefly was, I think, the first TV series, at the very least in a very long time, to pull the Star Wars card of used future.
Okay.
Because it predated BSG, and BSG was a used future, but not a beat up derelict used future. Firefly was like, no, seriously, this is heavily used. And, you know, the title ship that our characters are traveling around in is literally held together with baling wire and force of will.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't just used future, it was ragged edge used future.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it very obviously leaned heavily on Western tropes. And it kind of sounds stupid for me to say that because it's so obvious. It was a Western in space.
Right. It was much more akin aesthetically to what we saw with the original Battlestar Galactica in terms of
in
costuming.
A lot of ways, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you know, earth tones everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything looks weathered. You know, only the bad guys ever had totally new looking clothes.
Yes.
With the exception of Simon Tam.
Okay.
And I'm going to get to that in a second when I talk about character archetypes.
Please do.
But you know, it was a Western in space. We have a ragtag band of independent frontiers people trying to make their way with little but a starship and their sheer pluck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I believe it.
Not only so we've talked about the aesthetic now, but not only the aesthetic, but the narrative DNA of the show was rooted in the Western genre. There were definite SF traits there in the genome. Mm-hmm. Some of them taken from, interestingly enough, from a subgenre that you wouldn't think would tie in well with a Western, which is cyberpunk, and a lot of them from space opera. Mm-hmm. But the dominant phenotypic characteristics came out of the Western.
Okay.
You know, so talking about character archetypes, Mal Reynolds starts out, he's leader of the gang. Right. He is that, you know, charismatic, you know, frontiers dude.
Right.
He's what TV tropes would refer to as a knight in sour armor. He has this outward show of a very great deal of cynicism and kind of bad attitude, but at the end of the day, he's actually a really honorable guy.
Nice.
With a very serious personal code of honor. Mm-hmm. And especially in his dealings with Inara, it becomes really clear because, like, from the first episode, you can tell he has a yearning there, but he doesn't think it'll ever go anywhere, and so he copes with it by being, frankly, really rude to her.
Right.
You know. Yeah. And then, you know, and then all of the captain tropes from sci-fi are there. He's a father to his crew. Mm-hmm. You know, beloved leader kind of stuff. And he is mostly a guile hero. He makes his way by being cleverer than everybody around him and being one trick ahead of the opposition.
And sometimes falling over backward into the good luck of that.
Yes.
Yes. Actually, as often as not. Like there's times where he's world weary and he gets it. And then there's other times where, shit, I didn't think I'd get out of that. Or I always knew there would be a way, but I didn't know how, you know? Yeah.
And the opening minute or so of, I don't remember, I don't have the episode title in front of me, but when they have the heist to steal the Lassiter, when Saffron shows up, and the opening sequence is her essentially dry gulching him, and he's standing there naked in the middle of the desert, and he says, "Well, that went well." and then they go back, you know, 72 hours before that. You have the whole plot line go from there.
Right.
You know, like, all right, well, this is all going according to plan. Like, how could this be going according to plan? You're buck naked in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Like, and there are undoubtedly scorpions. Like, what the hell? So, but and the other thing that's important to note is he's a guile hero who relies heavily on luck, but he also has a streak of, you know, when the veneer of that gets rubbed off, he shows up as being a determinator and frankly a badass.
Yeah.
You know,
he's the character that I always wanted to play in D&D, but we were always like young starting out characters. So you never get to be that guy.
You can't ever be Malcolm Reynolds as a first level character.
Yeah, no.
That's just not doable.
No.
You might pull off Wash.
Yeah.
As a first level PC, if you're in a system that allows you to throw all of your skill points into one area, like
That's true.
no, put me behind the controls of a starship and I will wreck shit.
Yeah.
I'm no good at anything else.
Nothing else. Yeah.
Like I fall apart in any kind of negotiation. I can't fight worth a tinker's cuss.
Right.
I'm physically fragile. Like no, I can't do anything else well. But that one thing, I am a one. You can do that. But So all right. So that's Mal. Then we have Zoe, who's the veteran, the loyal second in command.
Right.
TV tropes would call her the Lancer. She's the one you look at who you're kind of like, well, you could be the lead, but you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you?
Right.
And she's very, very hyper competent.
Mm-hmm.
And where Mal sometimes works to try to obfuscate what a badass he is, and sometimes he's just naturally kind of a knucklehead.
Right.
Zoe is always the one on his right, on his left. Always right behind his left shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Always totally cool, totally competent, and always has a plan to kill everybody in the room.
Yeah, and she is like you said, a badass fighter. Like he's the
stone,
bard who can fight.
Yeah.
She's the fighter who can fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stone cold killer. Yeah, bad. Then we have Kaylee, who is a borrowed archetype from SF. She's the genius engineer.
She's my favorite character. I think I lost you.
Oh yeah, I'm totally not gonna lie. You did, but yeah, she's your favorite character.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I had the biggest crush on Jewel State. Like for the first episode or so, I was like, no, Inara's way hotter.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I came to my senses and realized that no. Yeah, Kaylee, yeah. A huge crush on her.
It goes back to my love of jumpsuits. Like anybody who dresses practically is automatically more attractive to me. Like
really,
dead serious. Yeah. If you dress practically, like that's, I think why here it is 2020 and I still like wearing cargo shorts. Like that's apparently not good.
No. You're a dad. It's the
that
uniform.
Too. Yeah. So the Argyle socks are just
like,
a good flair.
That's
but I've been told that cargo shorts are a bad idea. I'm like, no, they have pockets. You will never talk me out of these.
And if you have young kids, like, no, you don't understand. I can carry so much shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and if we're talking about, pre-social distancing era, I can bring 2 bottles or more, depending on the cargo shorts, of my own beer to a party.
There you go.
I don't have to drink the shit they're offering me there. Because I know that Bob is an idiot who only likes Coors Light. So no, I'm not drinking his beer, but I've got cargo shorts. I can bring a couple of bottles of good stuff.
There you go.
Like I'm just saying from a practical. Yeah, no.
Sure.
I'm right there with you. I mean, the only difference is that in my own case, it's been a utility kilt rather than cargo shorts.
Right.
But
same amount of pockets. You're fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so right now, of course, I am wearing cargo shorts as we speak.
Yeah.
Because again, dad uniform, and it's it was 91 degrees today.
It did get hot. Yeah.
They're quite warm.
Yeah, I'll claim that I'm wearing cargo shorts, but you ain't seeing me.
And I'm not gonna press the issue because I'm only seeing you from the chest up, and I really don't need to know.
Yeah.
Together. That's a question I don't need to ask.
Right.
So anyway, Kaylee, who we both
the
had
pretty
a crush
ugly
on.
chick, basically. That's the other thing.
The Hollywood ugly.
Right. Because she is that's
the trope.
You have the character who is the sexy one. Because you got 2 women on the show. Therefore, one of them is the sexy one. The other one is the pretty one who's not sexy, wink, wink, but is just as hot. Like it's that in itself has got to be some sort of trope.
The ginger Marianne conundrum.
Yes.
Yeah. like anybody with half a brain looks at Marianne and goes, no, I'm sorry, she's smoking hot. What are you talking about? But of course, the idea was, no, Ginger is the hot one. I am going to say that I think, one of the few guys of our generation who actually did think Ginger was hotter.
See, I have a genetic predisposition against redheads, so
because you are one,
right?
Yeah, combustion. Yeah, we've heard it before.
Yep, but still true. Yeah,
but every other nerd of our generation who I've nerd of our generation who's interested in women who I've spoken to has said, no, man, Marianne was way hotter, and I'm like, I don't get where you're all coming from. Like, that's a valid opinion to hold, but no, man.
Oh yeah, she's a brunette. That's
not for me. Yeah. I don't. Anyway, so, but the other trope that's important to note with Kaylee, the sub trope, as it were, her primary trope is genius engineer, but underneath that, her actual personality is all taken from the plucky frontier girl.
Yeah, she just figures out how the axle works.
Yeah, and she's one of the daughters in Little House on the Prairie in space.
Yeah, Yeah. There is very much a paternal vibe that they all have toward protecting her. Which what I love though is that isn't there an episode where they kind of go back and explain how he met all the characters. And and what I loved about that episode is that she absolutely owns her own sex. And she's like, no, I wanted to fuck on these engines. I think it's been a while. But like, and she's like, yeah, so what? Big deal. And it's just like, wow, that was, I really liked that.
Well, now have you seen the movie? Have you seen Serenity?
Yes.
Okay. So she is the one in the movie to say, I'm sorry, I don't know about you, but I need to get laid. I mean, that's not the way it's phrased, but she straight up says, I'm sorry, Captain Tight Pants, but I need to get laid.
Yes.
And I will say, before I get to the point where I'm pointing out problematic aspects of all of this, I will say there is something really great about the fact that this character, who is the one everybody has this maternal, in the case of Zoe, everybody looks at her as their little sister.
Right.
Everybody has this older sibling vibe toward Gailey. She is introduced, or her introduction to the other characters was them walking in on her, going at it with their prior engineer, and then talking to her for a minute and realizing she was way smarter than he was, firing him, hiring her.
She literally fucked him out of his job.
Yeah. Which is brilliant.
Yes.
Which is absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
So, and then moving on to the third female character on the crew is Inara, who is taken straight out of a Western. She's the hooker with the heart of gold.
Right.
And, there really isn't very much more for me to say about that, because that trope attached to her character and her role in the series is really not very much more complicated than that.
She ends up being not only the heart of gold, but also a lot smarter and more able to manipulate than Mal. Like, she's always 2 steps ahead of him even on things. Yeah. But yeah, it's still pretty tropey.
Well, and I think even that her being smarter than him, I think, can be traced back to that particular kind of trope. Because when if you look at those characters in Western genre, although I don't know if you look too far back, they're not allowed to be smarter than the male character on the show because we're talking about the 50s and 60s. But
right,
I think there is an element of, well, they're involved in the kind of the seedier side of things, so they're going to have. So they're going to have more understanding of kind of how that stuff works.
Sure.
So and then we have Shepherd Book, who is a preacher.
I'm sorry. Let me go back a step.
Okay,
so Mal is the bard,
leader of the gang.
Oh
yeah. Okay.
Shit. I'm blanking on her name.
Zoe
is the fighter. The enforcer. Who else have we mentioned?
Kaylee.
She is the artificer, or she's the wizard on some levels. I would say that Inara is the rogue, just in a very different...
I'm going to argue Inara is in some ways the cleric.
Oh, okay. Fair. Because I was going to say that the priest was the cleric, but I think you're right.
Yeah, and Shepherd, coming around to Shepherd Book.
Yeah.
Shepherd Book is hard to pin down. He might be kind of the monk. He's the high wisdom. He's the really high wisdom with kind of a weird. I mean, if we're using D&D tropes, he's the cloistered high wisdom character who. And what I'm going to come to now from the Western angle of his trope, he's the preacher with a mysterious past.
Yeah.
You know, one of my absolute favorite character moments from like the whole series is the episode The Message, where they wind up finding that one of Mal and Zoe's war buddies has gotten involved in an organ smuggling ring, and he's carrying the organs in his body, and he faked his death, and it's this weird, big science fiction elements to it, kind of plot. But Shepherd Book winds up, basically saying, okay, no, look, I know that guy's out of his jurisdiction who's chasing him, and I know this, that, and the other, and like basically almost like completely, it's almost like he blows his cover somehow. And Mal winds up saying, someday you have to tell us how a preacher knows so much about crime.
Right.
And Shepherd Book just looks right at him and says, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And that's the whole exchange, and it's absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
And right now I'm kicking myself that I didn't write the actor's name into my notes for who it was who played Shepherd Book. He's no longer with us, and it's a terrible loss. He was on Barney Miller.
Is Ron Glass.
Ron Glass, thank you. Who I don't think enough people know what a remarkable performer he was.
Yeah, he really, really was. Just played that restraint and that menace at the same time.
at the same time.
Yeah.
And of course, anybody who's in the fandom will never be able to forget there is a special hell reserved for pedophiles and people who talk in the theater. And then a moment later, sticking his head back through the doorway, special hell, and just disappear.
Yep.
And just, yeah.
Okay, so he's the preacher with the dark past. Yeah, I would definitely say that is, given that he's a preacher, I'd say he's a warlock. But
interesting. I kind of like that. That's not a direction I would have gone, but I can take that.
Well, I kind of think, you and I have different cosmologies there, but like, he's got the sponsorship of a deity if he's a preacher. So it's a real easy line for me to draw.
That's a good point. And he's not a holy warrior, so he really doesn't fit in with cleric. No, you're right. I can see that.
Yeah. So, okay, so he's the preacher with the dark past.
Yeah.
A man seeking his own redemption and ultimately may find it by continuing down his dark path, or may not. May die before he gets it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, here's what I would like to do. I'm going to ask us to take a short break because we have a plug to give tonight. But yeah, it's going to be a slightly different kind. It's not going to be a recorded commercial, so it might completely blow up in our faces. But do you like comic books?
I think anybody who has listened to any episodes of this show would know that yes is the only answer I can honestly give.
Yeah. Well, at 1120 Fulton Avenue in Sacramento, California, zip code 95825, there's a comic book shop called Empire's Comics Vault.
I am a fan.
Oh, me too. And the guy who runs it is a man named Ben Schwartz, who is phenomenal, just one of the friendliest guys. First off, they have two pugs just running around that store all the time. Secondly,
and we know that you're going to be a fan just because of that right there.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because Skura, come on.
Yeah, I didn't choose the pug life. The pug life chose me. But also, he traded in all of our Halloween candy for comic books this year. So if you find that your little one next year has too much candy, you might want to swing on down there.
Well, I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm also a customer
Mm-hmm.
and a fan of the management of Empire.
Yeah.
They're a great establishment. It's a very chill kind of atmosphere.
It is. It is.
Every time I've been in there, they've had the TV go into some, geek friendly movie,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's, Marvel Universe or The Incredibles or,
Or
something
JLA
related.
from the old 70s. Yeah. It's
There you go. Yeah.
I've done
No,
comedy there. Like he hosts
Really?
comedy. Yeah. On Friday nights, there's another guy who runs a comedy show there every monthly in the summers. I'm not sure if it's still going, but like such a fun and giving audience. Like I've been able to do some really fun nerd out comedy there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But currently they're closed to the public because
That's a damn shame.
it is. But he still goes in every day because he's still mailing out comics to people.
Oh, so if you have a saver or you have subscription or something going on with them, he is still sending comics out to people.
Yeah.
So if somebody were to find the Empire Comics website, for example, or email him or somehow contact the ownership, they could help support this business in this time of need.
Absolutely.
By signing up for a saver or telling them, hey, I want to get these following issues or something I'm really interested in. Sign me up.
You not only do you need to set up a saver, but could you set up a saver? He can also give you recommendations. So he's read a lot of what he's got, so he can find you just the right book. He can give you gift certificates, which you can then fulfill by calling him, and I'll give you guys the phone number at the end. He's also restocking back issues. So if you are looking for gaps to fill in your collections, he can help you with that. Kids' books are also always 20% off.
Very cool.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That I did not know. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. The guy is a treasure. A treasure. Again, he's at 1120.
He sounds like a genuine mensch.
He is. He's at 1120 Fulton Avenue, Sacramento, California. Zip code 95825. The phone number is 916-482-8779. And once again, that's 916-482-8779. Throw some business his way because it's a very much a walk-in business, and he's finding ways to get people their comic book needs, even during this time of once in a lifetime occurrence
of isolation and everything else. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So, anyway,
please
back to our show.
Yes, by all means. So we've gone through Mal, Zoe, Kaylee, Inara, and Shepard Book. Next is Wash. And we kind of already talked about Wash when we were talking about D&D archetypes. Wash is kind of that first level character who's like, no, I put all my skill points into piloting.
Yeah.
There's like I have one feat, which is awkwardly seduce female fighters. And like that's the only thing I can do other than fly this ship like nobody else in the verse can do.
Right.
He's an archetype bard from SF. He is the ace pilot.
Mm-hmm. He absolutely is.
He's also kind of the team smartass. And of course, Alan Tudyk has now become this name that like everybody knows because he's done voice work in so many movies.
Oh yeah.
Since then, including a Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. And for God's sakes, they need to cast him in The Mandalorian. Like, please,
oh God, yeah.
Please give him a part in The Mandalorian. Like, I'm begging you, if anybody on our listeners list is even tangentially related to anybody making these decisions, like literally, I am begging you, cast him in something in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
For the love of the Force, please. So, he's gone on to become one of the members of the cast who's become broadly famous. I think he and Nathan Fillion are probably the two actors who were unknown at the time of their part in the series who've gone on to become broadly known. I think the other members of the cast, like, people kind of look at him and go, "Where do I know you from?"
Right.
But like, people will look at Nathan Fillion and they'll look at Alan Tudyk and go, "No, I know you."
It's funny
Or
because
they'll hear.
when I first saw Nathan Fillion, I was like, "Oh, it's the guy they thought was Private Ryan." And when I saw,
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
when I saw Alan Tudyk, I was like, "Oh, cool, it's Wart." Or, yeah, from what do you call it? I'm getting a Cheers.
he's getting a raised glass because anybody who points out A Knight's Tale,
Yes,
deserves that. A Knight's Tale should have been the first Dungeons and Dragons movie, because that's really what it was.
Yeah,
But
true.
But yes, sir. There you go. So, but Tudyk has gone on to be, Duke of Wesselton and Duke Weaselton.
Yes.
Who references the Duke of Wesselton.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the droid's name.
K2SO.
K2SO, thank you.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, there's just so much other stuff he's gone on to do. So, but his character in this series is basically, he's the comic relief for the team. He's the guy who makes a joke to break the tension.
Yes.
And then he's the ace pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Jane, played by a Baldwin who is not actually a Baldwin.
Right.
And he is another Western trope. He is the hardened criminal, the sociopathic member of the gang that, like, the leader has to keep under control.
Right.
And he's the hardened criminal and the gunfighter.
Mm-hmm. He's the heavy weapon. He's the barbarian of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, in D&D tropes, he's totally the barbarian.
Yeah.
And then we have Simon Tam, who is the city slicker.
Yep.
Again, 100% complete Western trope. He shows up. He's got all the nice fancy clothes. He's got all the money. He's got all the understanding of urban society and all that stuff.
Civilization.
And he is very clearly, imagine that all the words I'm saying now for the next several all start with capital letters. He is not a frontier type.
Yes.
He is a tenderfoot. He is like anytime any reality of life on the frontier comes up, he's the one who's taken aback. And for a modern audience, in a lot of ways, sometimes he winds up becoming kind of the point of view character.
I was going to say, he's the everyman. He's the Winston Zedmore of the group.
Well, on some levels, he's the Winston Zedmore, and then he turns around and he becomes the wizard on a couple of occasions because he's also the doctor.
See, and this is why I thought he would be the cleric.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Party can have more than one cleric.
Yeah, I still see Inara as being the rogue, though. Like, if you're going archetypically, she's the one.
Yeah.
She's not the sneak thief rogue. She is the
face.
The face rogue. You know, he's the face, and that's part of the tension between them. You know, Mal is the face bard. She's the face rogue. You know, she's the charming rogue. The one that the person who really likes to role play their characters does that.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. All right. And then finally, the last character of the main cast that we have is River.
Mm-hmm.
And River is not taken from a Western trope. She is another science fiction refugee. She's the weird psychic girl.
Yes. Isn't she the sister of the Doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
The younger sister.
Yes. She's the MacGuffin.
Yeah. In a very great many ways, she is the MacGuffin. In a D&D party, she is the one who the DM looked at her backstory and went, I have the plot for the whole campaign figured out around you.
Yeah.
Having been that player, that's a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
Just gonna say. So now, of the main cast, if we go back through that's 2/3 of the characters are built out of Western tropes.
Mm-hmm. By the way, if we're D&Ding her, she's absolutely the sorcerer.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like all kind of weird abilities that, like, we don't know how she learned how to do it. She doesn't even know how she learned to do it.
Exactly.
She didn't really learn how to do it. All of a sudden, she just does it.
Did it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2/3 of them are Western tropes. And 3 out of the, how many are there? 9?
9.
Okay.
3 out of the 9.
Okay. Fully 3 out of the 9. Fully a third of the cast is women.
Yes.
Yeah. Which of course makes people confused because they're like, wait, they already have a woman. Wait, they already have 2 women.
Why do they need 3?
Right.
And again, some credit where some credit is due.
Yes.
I think it is important, and I think it is laudable that the stone cold badass out of the group, because Jane was terrifying, but he was also played for comedy because he wasn't very bright.
Right.
Zoe was the one, like, if you knew anything about getting into a fight with anybody, Zoe was the one you were going to be like, no, we need to take her out first.
Right. Yeah, she is not the tank. She is the one who will do all the damage, though.
Yeah, she's the dead eye. She literally is the sniper. She's the one like, no, you're gonna be up on the bluff over there, and if things go south, you're gonna kill this one first, then that one, then that one.
Right.
And by the time you've dropped the third one, I'll have gotten my gun out of its holster, and I can take care of business from there.
Yeah. No.
And anybody, yeah.
I was just gonna say you're right, because like if you normally were gonna trope this up, that role would go to a fella. Like it would. And so good on him for putting that on a woman and for including a third, because like in many ways it's it feels like, so I had a comedy buddy who she always had this line. She says she'd get on stage and she'd say, "I know what you're thinking. We already saw the woman tonight."
Wow.
Yeah, and she's like, "I'm the other woman." And then she would, kind of lightly roast the audience for what that meant that they would have to deal with. It also reminds me of a time where Star Wars showed me that I had internalized some racism that I didn't know about, because I was watching Rogue One, and I saw the trailer. I was like, "Oh, cool! They got an Asian character. It's about time." And then they showed another one, and I was like, "Wait, they already had it. Oh, that's why." And it was that short a line for me, thankfully.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that line was still had to be drawn for me. So in many ways, you have the hot chick. You have, oh my God, you got 4 women in this thing. You got the hot chick. You got the pretty ugly chick. Then you got 2 other women who aren't defined by their looks by the male gazing audience. And then you go just one layer down and you realize you have somebody who is the roguish character who can get them into the seedy underworld. You've got one who is the engineer. Without them, the ship won't work. You've got the woman who's a badass fighter, which is just plays against trope. And then you've got the woman who is the MacGuffin, which kind of plays into trope, but she's the weird psionic girl. So, and so you have like the bandwidth for the male gazing audience member.
Yeah,
is kind of taken up and a little bit frustrated, or not frustrated. That's not the word I'm looking for, but
is somehow altered.
Yes. So
and something I want to point out also is that Zoe in particular is not only a woman playing that role, but she's a woman of color playing that role.
Good point.
And Inara
also a woman of color, coated white, but she is
coated white, but not like Northern European white.
Right. She's Latino.
And so there's a meaningful level of inclusion involved there in a way that I think is important. That the scary one isn't the big white dude. The scary one is the black woman.
That's a good point.
Who is standing there, not being the stereotypical, the stereotype of the angry black woman, but who is just standing there,
right,
with her hand on her hip, and that means it's very close to the gun she has.
Right. And she's not the Worf either, where like we're going to show how bad this bad guy is by beating her up.
No, the white guy is the Worf. The one who gets beat up to show how badass somebody is Jane. Mostly because Jane is dumb enough to be the first one to run forward at any threat.
Yeah.
Because again, he's the barbarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought to try to code them onto D&D archetypes, but you're totally right.
Yeah.
I can't argue. I ain't even mad. I can't argue about any of that. So not only do we have 2/3 of the main characters being coded as Western archetypes, but the storylines were all built out of the DNA of Western storyline narrative tropes. They centered around the crew trying to make a buck somehow.
Right.
And making a buck basically meant some level of illegal activity. Like on the best, closest to legitimate businessman day, Malcolm Reynolds is a smuggler.
True.
Like look at the number of episodes in which it's, well, we know we have a market for this thing. We're going to steal this thing, and then we're going to take it out to the fringe, and we're going to sell it.
Yep, that's true.
And on the couple of times where it's no, I'm a businessman, it's I'm a businessman who's doing business with quote unquote legitimate businessmen on fringe worlds by smuggling something from one planet to another to avoid excise taxes.
Sure. Yeah, he's the businessman is a front for what he is doing.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah. Anybody who played the Traveller role-playing game is intimately familiar with this archetype out of science fiction, because if you played a quote-unquote free trader campaign, that eventually that turned into smuggling, like inevitably, because just being a trucker is boring.
Yeah, there's no drama to being a trucker.
On a narrative level, there's no drama to being a trucker. So, of course you're going to wind up falling in with bad people, and you're going to wind up smuggling.
Oh yeah.
But what's interesting is taking a look back at the 14 episodes, when the storyline had to do with them making a buck, it was outright thievery more often than it was smuggling. And if it was outright thievery, it was always 100% thievery against the Alliance, either directly against the Alliance government in the case of the train job, or against essentially the Alliance infrastructure in, I don't remember the title right now, but the hospital robbery.
Oh,
hospital
yeah.
Okay. The train job and the train job actually has two different heists involved in it. It opens with the salvage / scavenging of material from an Alliance warship, Hulk, a destroyed warship. Remember, they show up and let go of the drone. Cry baby cry, make your mama sigh, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And then it turns into a train robbery or a train heist, because it's not actually an armed robbery, involving Alliance supplies. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who somehow hasn't seen it, so I'm not going to say more details about it.
It's been 17 years. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
especially if it's germane to your argument.
Yeah. Okay. Well, less so in this case.
Okay.
But they wind up robbing a train full of Alliance soldiers that are guarding a shipment of Alliance. Essentially, they find out it's medicine. They don't know at the beginning of the episode that that's what they're stealing.
Right.
It's medical supply. And so if they're going to outright steal, they always do it from the Alliance. Okay.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're coming up on it. So who's the Alliance? I hear you asking. That's a good question.
It is a good question.
It's a meaningful question. See, the Alliance is the overarching authority of the solar system in which the series takes place. And see, Mal and Zoe are both veterans of the military force that fought against the Alliance in the Unification War, in which the Alliance sought to take control of the independent planets and moons not previously under its control. Okay.
Yeah. It's getting uncomfortable.
Well, I got more. It's going to get more uncomfortable. The Alliance is the overarching big bad of the series. They're the ones who experimented on River. And they are the ones who send a truly unnerving pair of hunters coming after the crew of Serenity to try to get River.
Now, is that in
Two-
Serenity, the movie, or is that in the TV series?
No, that's in the TV series. Remember
Okay.
2x2 Hands of Blue with the hypersonic, ultrasonic thing that makes people bleed out of their ears.
Yes.
And they're oddly kind of robotic, and we don't really know what's going on with them.
Right.
Those hunters are explicitly sent by the Alliance, and we know explicitly that the Alliance experimented on River. We find that out in that same hospital heist episode. A couple of episodes, we find out, because Simon says, "Hey, I have a target, but in order for me to walk you through getting through that target, because I'm a city slicker, I can guide, and a doctor, I can guide you through where you need to go in the hospital to get this stuff done."
Right.
He winds up saying the price is you need to get me into the scanning room so I can look at my sister's brain and figure out what's wrong with her.
Mm-hmm.
And he figures out in that episode that she's been experimented on.
Right.
And surgically altered.
Mm-hmm.
And the Alliance gets decried repeatedly by Mal.
Yep.
And to a lesser extent by Zoe, but almost always by Mal, as being oppressive, and there are a bunch of invading bullies. The Tams were both born in the Alliance on a core world where life looks like something out of a cyberpunk story.
So wait. We're starting to see urban versus frontier as well.
Yes.
Okay.
And we see that life on a core world in many ways looks like something out of a cyberpunk story, which includes massive megacorporations and intimations of really heavy-handed surveillance. Simon starts talking about, we haven't heard anything from River in a long time. I'm worried about her. And, his parents both say, you need to stop talking about this. This is dangerous. You need to be quiet about this. You know? And so there's intimations of the Alliance government being, dictatorial or heavy-handed. But then in the movie, we find out that there is a legislature, and there is something like a recognizable form of representative democratic government.
Right.
Which is part of the reason that the agent gets sent after them, is because River somehow has secrets in her head because she got exposed to the legislature. She was shown off to the legislature by the scientists. She may have read their minds or something. And so, there's this okay, wait, is it like they're ruled by a mega corporation, or is it like they're a representative democracy with elements within it that are bad? What do we know?
Right.
And so I know we're coming up on an hour at this point.
We are.
So I think we'll pause here to pick up again. What's the first thing you're taking away from this?
Well, I haven't mentioned it yet because there's a quote that he says, and then there's also a reference to clothing that they mention. Do you want me to hold those until next time? Okay, I will.
I'd say so.
All right. Then I would, and there's also the blending of English and Chinese throughout the whole thing. Were you going to touch on that at all?
Not in my notes actually, but go ahead. So now I'd say if that's a point you want to make, go ahead and do that.
Yeah. So you essentially have two empires that annexed large chunks of their own frontier. Not always with the willing consent of those frontiers, and who had a history of expanding westward from the eastern cities of both places, both in China and in the United States. And I just find it interesting that we're coming upon that again he's blended those two cultures specifically. And if you look at the flag, it's a mix of the Chinese and the American flags. Yeah, both of which are flags of conquest.
and we're going to get into the second part of that a little bit as part of the overarching thesis. But I think it's interesting that you bring that up, because I think it's interesting to note that all of the historical context of that you talked about expansion from the east westward.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, except in the context of the American frontier, with all of those words starting with capital letters.
Sure.
I don't think that's anything that Whedon thought of consciously, except that he was writing a Western story. And the fact that the Chinese were the other empire involved, I don't think ever.
Okay.
I don't think consciously he ever considered that was also the pattern in the case of that civilization.
Okay. So it might have just been baked in, maybe.
Yeah, I think very much so, and I'm going to get into a little bit of that in regard to the American portion of it in the next installment.
Okay. The only other thing I would point out is in his previous two properties that he worked on, one being Buffy, the other one being Angel. Both of those were suburban or urban stories, and this is decidedly not.
Oh, dramatically not.
Yeah. And so it's a huge departure in a lot of ways from what he did. And I would say that, they always say work what you know, do what you know. And it's not like he grew up in New York, if I recall correctly. And he has quite the lineage of writing in his family. I know that. So it's interesting to me that he's taking a departure, and this is the one that is commercially a bit of a failure, but in terms of critical stuff, it's probably his most best known thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he bounced back into like urban and suburban after this too. So
yeah, basically, yeah. I think he got. If I know I'm forgetting the title of the series I have in mind, but if you're thinking of the same thing I'm thinking of, I wouldn't. Yeah, no, it's definitely very urban.
So, are we talking Angel or are we talking Dollhouse?
Dollhouse,
yeah.
Because Angel was I want to say Angel was pre Firefly.
It was.
And Dollhouse deserves an episode on its own.
Cool.
Because there's so much to dig into on that, but he got very, very, very heavily cyberpunk with Dollhouse, I think. And I think the extent to which the subgenre shifts, talking about urban versus rural, is almost pointless because it's totally a cyberpunk story, and you almost can't have a frontier story be cyberpunk. And I know saying that, I intentionally said almost can't because I know somebody's going to have an edge case somewhere. But the genre relies so heavily on so many things that have to do with urban life.
Right. That you lose, even if you have people with not animal parts, machine parts on them. If you're in a Western, you're in a Western. Like you just are.
Yeah. The genre is the genre, and it's just really hard to get out of the straitjacket of kind of what's involved there.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think my takeaway to move us toward, kind of closing down and moving on to the next installment is all of this. Again, I kind of want to stress, I kind of want to defend myself because where we're going to go in the next installment is going to make me very unpopular with a subset of people. I want to say, here's the thing. This was a brilliant piece of television. And what I'm going to say coming up is not to try to say that we shouldn't watch it or we shouldn't love it or we shouldn't want to see more from these characters, but I just feel like we need to keep in mind some things that are metatextual that are really, really important. And I think it's only through really having done this podcast that I really actually looked at this series and went, oh, hey, wait, that's actually kind of an issue.
Yeah. No, I remember I took a film class and I studied Buster Keaton for a while. Brilliant.
Oh,
Amazing. How come he always took the side of the South? It's one of those kinds of things. Like, oh, hey, how come the good guys are always your Confederates? That kind of thing. And so, like, I get it. I totally get it. Like, it can be a brilliant piece of art, and also its antecedents are a problem.
Yeah, have these kinds of issues that I'm going to be talking about here in our next installment.
Well, I look forward to it.
So there we go. Cool. That's pretty much what I got.
All right. Where can people find you so they can send their hate mail to you on the Twitter and the social meds?
Oh man! So the hate mail needs to be sent to @EHBlaylock on the Twitter. And at Mr. Blaylock on the Instagram. How about you?
Well, no hate mail needed because I came out standing hard for Joss Whedon. So I guess for me, actually, there will be hate mail because maybe I stood for someone who shouldn't be stood for. But that's at Harmony. There's 2 H's in that on the Twitter and on the Insta. So yeah. I do want to.
Of course, if you want to scream at both of us, you can do so at Geek History Time on Twitter.
Yes, I do want to just plug a couple different things. One is Capital Punishment has its own live streaming show every Friday night at 8:30. It's on twitch.tv/Capital Puns. As well as another another streaming show that I'm on called Calling It in the Ring with Damian and Johnny. And I'm on there with another comedian, and we watch old wrestling and we talk about it as we're watching. It's a watch along on twitch.tv/Calling It in the Ring. So there's both of those. But for this show,
very cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. For this show, though, I strongly recommend y'all hit us up on the Twitter, like you said, at Geek History Time, and at EHBlaylock and at Harmony. So, all right, well,
very cool.
Yeah, for Ed Blaylock, I'm Damian Harmony.
And I'm Ed Blaylock. And until next time, keep rolling those 20s.